Tuesday, it is 9 o'clock, and despite it being St. Patrick's Day and indeed a bank holiday, we're still here commentating on the latest round of the RTA Porsche Cup Series 2026. Indeed, I was going to say that these drivers don't have lives, but then if you're sitting here and watching us, that probably same applies to you as well. But thank you nonetheless for joining us for the latest round of what is already shaping up to be a very intriguing season as we headed back to the Tin Top Series. Porsche Cup cars, the newly updated Porsche Cup cars that these guys are getting a handle on as we head into Season 2 of 2026 across the iRacing service. My name is Kevin Galvin. I am joined as always by Evan Dalton in the commentary box and indeed Ronan Hedeman in the background as we head to a venue that obviously a lot of us are very intimately aware of, but a venue that we don't know as much on the calendar. We head from the Red Bull Ring in Austria, not that far, only just over the Styria Mountains, across to the Nurburgring GP track. We're not running the full Nordschleife layout, unfortunately. That would make for a great race, but we're sticking to the GP track, all 5.148 kilometers of it, 3.198 miles in old money, 15 turns on a race lap record during the COVID hit Formula 1 season of a 128.139. Evan, Nurburgring, a bit of a different track for us, and I suppose it's going to see. We'll see how it plays out. But I can tell you, it's certainly personally not my favorite configuration of this world famous track.
Good evening, folks. Good evening, Kevin. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that sentiment. I think the Nordschleife would have been quite fun, and I know Peter McCann was a big advocate for the Nordschleife, but we are on the GP layout here this evening with the fast chicane, not with the slow one, so we're on with the fast chicane, so it is a really weird layout. We sort of have the Mercedes Arena section, but the fast chicane as well. So it's not quite the F1 one. It's not quite the one you'd see to start the full Nürburgring Nordschleife or the 24-hour, I should say, circuit configuration. It's somewhere in between, which still should make for a good evening of racing. Very hard car and track combination to get a grasp of, unless your name is Jordan Kelly. So we should have a good race on our hands tonight.
Yeah, fully German we are this evening with Porsche Cup cars racing around a German circuit. Yeah, I was going to say Deutschland über alles there. I think that's still their anthem, so you can still say that. But yeah, it is a fully German combination this evening. Despite it being the day of the patron saint of Ireland, so for any of you who have a bit of German blood in you, I'm sure you'll feel right at home here. Yeah, I'm glad that we're using the more flowing chicane, I have to say. It is definitely that small chicane one we're looking at there is a bit of a... Oh, that's number 26 doing an interesting line through there. That's Grace McCallion, I think, in that machine. That's certainly not how to take that corner, but the small chicane it creates so much hassle on the iRacing service. I've unfortunately had the displeasure of racing it on several occasions, and it's a bit like the new layout of Barcelona, the F1 layout with it's just a chicane that nobody enjoys racing. It makes for bad racing. So I'm glad we're gone for the more flowing circuit. This is a chicane I'm a big fan of, this Michael Schumacher S. It's really teases you into how much you actually want to bite off the curb, and that's going to be something that these guys are going to have to get used to, because a lot of guys here, Evan, I suppose, come into this with a little bit of experience, and I know obviously with the Nürburgring 24 hours we do a lot of this layout, and guys might have experience of that, but the Nürburgring GP circuit certainly isn't a track that we would see often on the used that often really on the service, never mind in RTA. So it's going to be a new experience for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this exact layout is probably the first ever time we've done it here in RTA. We have done it with the slow chicane before. It's a lunge down the inside from Nicky Scherler, practicing the braking maybe for later. You mentioned that Michael Schumacher S, Kevin. Interestingly enough about that, if through the right-hander of it, if you take too much there, you don't pick up you pick up an instant slowdown. So we could see track limits being a big problem here this evening. You can see that little green bit of AstroTurf there on the inside. That is what will pick you up a slowdown. So there's been a lot of practice going on because, as you mentioned, not a lot of experience with this layout. Got to get on top of it, though, and definitely not do that. As we have a moment of silence in the commentary box for what we've just witnessed. That was a rare occurrence. That was Jamal being taken out, not the other way around, unfortunately. So, qualifying getting started now. It was an interesting week last week. At the top of the order, we had 3 different race winners. Jean Zertavella, Harvey Dara, and Dylan McClements winning Heat 1, 2, 3, respectfully. And that puts us in an interesting position in the championship order, with the Dutchman leading the Porsche Cup standings here after round number 1. So Jean Zertavella is at the top of the order, Kevin.
Yeah, sorry, Evan. Had a slight network malfunction there. Back with you. This is a great shot. This drone cam that we see coming down into the first section of the Mercedes arena. Yeah, it's a really interesting one. Jan, as we heard last week, is racing 3 different Porsche Cup leagues at the moment, so he's plenty of experience in these cars. Certainly made it pay last week, but Harvey Dara, as you said, with a win, and the ever-present Dylan McClements as well. It's going to be really interesting to see, like, Dylan obviously comes into it in rare form. He was a scholarship scholarship series overall winner. But there's some drivers here who are, they're also in excellent form. Jean only just lost out in a scholarship place. Of course, in that season, we have Jaxer, who picked up a place, Camto Chukwa, who earned one of those places as well. So there are some drivers in this field that are probably brimming with confidence, it's fair to say, after last season, and are really trying to, I suppose, cement that again, as Camto going off on the outside there of the Michelin, or sorry, the Michael Schumacher, no, the Michelin curve. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting place for him to be off. But yeah, like, good to see 3 different winners starting us off, and 3 races that were really hammer and tongs. And I know Dylan and Jean had a good back and forth as well last week. So let's see whether that continues into this week.
Yeah, as good as Jean was, I'm going to stand totally corrected here and correct myself. He's not top of the championship, he's 4th. So don't ask me how I've got that one so wrong. It's still McClements who's top of the standings with 84 points. But as close as it is amongst the top 4, it is Dylan McClements who is leading. So qualifying getting underway here. If you get into the 53s, you are doing absolutely excellent. Jordan Kelly set the practice times, or was top of the practice times, I should say, with a 53.2, but the next best lap was a 53.8. So anything in the 53s, you are doing quite well for yourself.
I think so. We looked at that Porsche Cup lap record there in the opening intro screen, and yeah, you're not that far off it if you're there. Interestingly, just looking through the timing screens, I hadn't realised that Brandon McGahan only has a C license. I would have presumed that Brandon would
noticed
be
that
BRA,
tonight as well.
Yeah, unless it's a different. No, it's the same account that he normally uses. So it's very interesting that Brandon's only on a C license. 3.2 rated iRacing. I think he's doing a bit of sandbagging there, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, it's Jordan Kelly who has the highest of all of the iRatings of all of the drivers this evening. Oh yes, just ahead of Peter McCann. Peter McCann's 5.4k. Jordan's 5.9k. So the 2 Earn Tiles sponsored VRA machines are, or I suppose RTA machines now we call them, are the 2 drivers that on paper should be the fastest. Now, whether that bears out, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I hope Dylan gets a good challenge this evening. Obviously, going into it, as you said correctly, Evan, top of the championship. But we don't really want to see him run away with it this year. He's had so many good seasons. We'd love to see him get a really good challenge, and love to see somebody put it up to him properly this year.
Yeah, hopefully. Jordan Kelly, we know, cannot race every week on his sim, so he's taking advantage of tonight being at home and not working and putting in the laps. But it's Peter Duke who is top of the order for the time being, but the times are going in quick and fast. That's a 55.7 for Peter Duke, with Harvey Dara in second position. Stephen Donnelly then in third. Dean Power, Dylan McClements, Lee Cogan, Peter McCann, David Edwards. We have same names from last week. Peter not racing with us last week, so that'll be his drop round, but he's back on the grid here. Peter Duke, still the pace setter in the Duke Collier Motorsports car. Simran Thacker is up to 8th position as well. One of the fast starters last week, putting a great performance, did Simran in the number 38. So expect to see him towards the top of the times, especially in race trim. Was really good over the longer formats, rather than this shorter qualifying, which we are already a third of the way through and only getting the first laps in. So it's going to be a cutthroat session. You got to get your fast laps in very quick indeed. Lawrence de Salzburg goes to 9th and Lee Cogan up to 6th.
Yeah, 3 Potato Nation cars in the top 12. Simran, Lawrence and Colin O'Regan. Noticing there again, Campto stopped on the outside of the Mercedes arena. I wonder, is Campto having some sort of issues at the moment, because he hasn't put in a lap yet, and we saw him in practice stopped on the outside of, I think it was the Warsteiner curve. So he is, I don't know, is he having some sort of issues, or is it a setup issue, or what's going on with Campto? But let's see if he can put in a rapid lap now. So coming around, also around to complete a lap is Jordan Kelly. All eyes on him. As you said, he's on a sim this evening. Should be quick, obviously, given the fact that he's going to be on controller for some of these weeks, means that he's probably not going to be a realistic candidate for the overall championship. But Jordan is massively competitive, and we'll be looking to see if he can really, Jordan's been on the RTA Wall of Fame more than once, and he'll have a point to prove against some of these young bucks coming up through the system that, he wants to know who really rules the roost.
Yeah, it's been a while since Jordan Kelly was at the forefront of an RTA championship through no fault of his own. We know the pace is always there. He injectified it in Brands Hatch out of absolutely nowhere when he was back in his sim last season. Kamzo Chukwu goes to second, one of our V scholarship winners. It didn't have the best of weeks in the Red Bull Ring, did Kamto. Finished 10th in heat number 3, which is not the usual standard that we've come to expect from him. Didn't have a great practice session last night, nor tonight, but he's up to second with his first lap in qualifying. So Kamto, who is running the Guinness livery as a Paddy's Day tribute, is up to second position. Nicky Charlier up to third. Then it is Jean Zeltavella in fourth. So similar front runners from the Red Bull Ring emerging just across the Styrian Hills.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be really interesting. Jordan Kelly, as you said, we were talking about him earlier, he's gone 154.2, so he's going to be very much up there. And great to see Nick Charlier involved. He went off very early in the quali session and seemed to have an issue. Ooh, he's going to caught up there with some back markers behind him. I'm trying to see who that is. But yeah, it is. It's going to be really interesting to see whether Nicky can stay with pace, because he looked pretty rapid last week. He just couldn't get the results in the races. Rory O'Shea up there as well in the High Prix number 81. I don't know if we can say he's High Prix anymore. He has himself down as High Prix, but I don't think that he's with High Prix anymore. Oh, he is. Okay. So yeah,
yes,
Rory.
it's back.
There you go. Oh yeah, and
back.
it's graffitied. A graffitied. I love that livery. That's really nice. What a very many different types of green livery we have. We have the team, the RTA Gantry TV sponsored entries, the Urn Tiles. That's in a higher green. We just saw that one, and we have Eric Killeen in the Shamrock Motorsport. He's running a different type of green. You have Sean McGoldrick's. Yeah, I was just going to get there. Sean McGoldrick in the Rexy. That's a different type of green again. And then, of course, you have the Potato Nation cars, who are also in green. So that is the other colour on our national flag, of course. And completing the colour set is the Potato Nation car. So plenty of green on the grid for this St. Patrick's Day evening.
Yeah, good to have. Good to have the other colour as well, just in case anyone's watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I actually saw Rory O'Shea in person the other day, and I was so tempted to go, it's Rory O'Shea from the High Prix, but I didn't, because he probably would have thought I'm an absolute weirdo then, because I don't think he watches back the streams and would have understood that reference. But I'm very excited to have High Prix back on the grid.
Yeah, very nice to have them. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the other High Prix driver is that normally races. There's somebody else I feel like was Hypre or last couple of seasons, another Irish driver. But yeah, this is Ian May. He is in the privateer number 8 car. I can't quite see the livery. It's kind of flashing behind me before I could see it, what the logo is on the side of that. But another all black machine. JSP, I'm being told. I have no idea what that is, but maybe you guys have. It's a John Player Spec. Okay, it's a brand of product that we would discourage all of our viewers not to use, both old and young, and probably would be banned in current motorsport. But I suppose this is the beauty of iRacing, that you can bring back those old liveries. Right, Jordan Kelly atop of the leaderboard still, followed by Campto Chukwa, as you said. Then Sean McGoldrick, Dylan McClements down in 4th position, and Harvey Dara down in 6th. Harvey wasn't 2nd, but remember last week it was Dylan, Harvey, and Jean were our 3 race winners, and none of them in the top 3 thus far this evening.
Yeah, real shuffle up. Of course, we have a lot of drivers coming in new to this season who fancy themselves in Porsche Cup or GT machinery. The likes of Nicky Charlier, the likes of Colin Reid, and the likes of Simran, who are all up there, and Simran's just improved to 11th right on cue. Well, this is Harvey Dara. We are looking at heading down towards turn number 5 and braking for turn number 5 at 40% brake pressure. Chuck it in through here and then get ready for this next right-hander through 2nd gear. Accelerate it out all the way. Use all of that little green AstroTurf on the left-hand side. You're looking for the start of the curb on the right-hand side here, so you can just see it there. Hammer down on the brakes. Rotate all the way through. Very late apex. Get back on the power. And once again, you're using all of the AstroTurf on the outside. Michael Schumacher-esque. How brave can you get? A nice lift through here. Clobber that curb on the inside. Oh, bounces all his way over it. And use that on the outside there while running up the gears. Usually there is a bridge over the top here, but it's about a 100-meter board where you're braking and rotating in through 3rd gear. Not much of braking here, about 1 or 2% just to settle the car and just get the front of it to bog down a little bit, and you're accelerating all the way up to hit the hill towards the highest chicane. And this is just a test of bravery. There's no real braking marker here. It's just how late do you want to brake and get it chucked in. About the 100-meter board, you start your deceleration and then you use all of that curb on the inside. You can even use a little bit more than Harvey has on the outside, braking on the curb in 3rd gear, get it rotated in nicely as close to the curb as you can, and power all the way out. Chuck it over that curb on the left-hand side and accelerate across the start-finish line. And that is a lap of the Nurburgring.
Yeah, and interesting that, first of all, Harvey definitely testing the suspension on the Michael Schumacher S-curve there, but also different drivers opting for different lines down the bottom of that carousel. Well, it's Dunlock curve, I know it's known as, but that hairpin right at the bottom, I mean, it's a bit like Bruxelles, I think is the name of it in Spa, where you can do what Harvey did and hug that corner all the way around and then release, or you can kind of turn it into a sort of a 2-parter where you cut across the first apex and then come back and try and get as best a run as you can all the way through the S-curve there. So different driving styles, different drivers like different types of things. Very technical, this circuit, I have to say. Really challenges your timing, particularly, it's like, as you say, the Dunlop curve there, or the Michael Schumacher S there, and that last corner, particularly technical. You're really trying to hit that late apex. Quite a few corners here are late apex, and just tests your patience. You can't go too early in on them. And the AstroTurf on the outside does invite you, but you do have to be careful because that stuff can be slippy as well. So a little bit more tame the second time around we see from Harvey Nara, not smashing that curb on the left quite as much. And you can see there, you can use quite a lot of the track here. You can use it quite a lot on the outside, and Harvey be frustrated here because that's, I don't know, is it Peter Duke or is it Dave Collier in front of him? It's Dave Collier in front of him who dived down the inside and took that position. It is Peter Duke. Actually, it's the 77 car.
Oh, it is,
yeah. Peter Duke in the 77. Just noticed the number there. And Peter is now holding up Harvey from getting a faster lap again. So that's a frustrating one for him. Also, on the subject of St. Patrick's Day, one of the things I do like about those Duke Collier Motorsport cars is that we are representing our national flags. So you can see there that Peter Duke has the Northern Irish flag on the side of his rear wing as it goes past. And if you look a couple of cars back, his teammate One that's still Peter Duke. His teammate, who's just behind him, Dave Collier, is running the tricolour on the wing. So love that. That's a great spot to have a national flag. I love the use of those side or the wing mirrors. I love the use of those kind of small little sections of the car where you can get those little details in.
Yeah, I agree. I love the national flag on the rear wing. It's something I always would put in the livery. I think it looks very cool. Totally unrelated, but second goal for Arsenal, Kev, in case you didn't see. Simmer Tacker is not going to get the lap in. That's going to be qualifying done. If you're wondering how this session has gone, Jordan Kelly's been reported for grip hacks.
Oh, great. I appreciate that, Evan, particularly given that the particular stream that I'm legally watching is about a minute behind the actual action. So I'm watching a corner that I know ultimately the result in it, but that will certainly take my stress off it. So my many thanks, Evan. No problem at all. I got a live score. Live score spoiled the first one, so I muted live score, and then you spoiled the second one. So I can't mute you.
If you get a third one, you're going to be fine and sorted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They'll have to score a third now to keep me happy. But yeah. We will, if there's enough of an interest, we will keep you updated as to the scores in the Champions League. But I'm sure people watching have very little interest and have a lot more interest in our qualifying results for this evening.
Yes, and it's Jordan Kelly who is on top of them. Camto Chukwa alongside him on the front row. Nicky Charlier in third. Jean Zoutevella in fourth. Ahead of Dylan McClement, Sean McGoldrick, Brandon McGaughan, Conor Melia, Colin O'Regan, Harvey Dara, Simran Tacker, Jack Wynne, Tony Griffin, Jared Love, Dean Power, Peter McCann, Rory O'Shea, Peter Duke, Lee Cogan, and Michael Corrie in 20th position. Then it's Lawrence de Salswa in 21st, ahead of Eric Killeen, Dave Collier, Simon Hutchings, Stephen Donnelly, Ian May, Dermot Toomey, Jamal Gandor, Dara O'Connor, Sean Cullen, David Edwards, Mladen Shrekovic, Aidan Moore, Grace McCallion, Matt O'Donoghue, who seems to be a new name, Adam Dowling, and Sean Smith to round out the 37 cars for this evening's action.
Yeah, no time from Adam Dowling. I wonder, will he be on our grid? Hopefully he is. And he can make it in, but not entirely sure why he didn't get to set a lap. Did Adam Dowling, part of the Clio Club with Peter McCann, as we get set for this opening heat of this Patrick's Day extravaganza.
Yes, we're going to get ready to go very soon, folks. Turn 1 could be really interesting here, so keep your eyes peeled on maybe those drivers in the minor placings, as we would like to call them. But it is Team Dolan's Jordan Kelly who's on the front row. 2 single-seater racers on the front row. Jordan Kelly, of course, out in his Formula Ford at some point this year. And Camto Chukwa, who will be racing the RTA Scholarship Formula V at 1 round. Then it's Nicky Charlier and Jean Zoutevella in 3 and 4. So let's see what happens here as the lights are getting ready to come on here in the Nurburgring. And 5 lights are off for our 10-minute heat. And let's let battle commence at the ring. And it's a good start for Nicky Charlier. An immediate defence from Jordan Kelly on Camto Chukwa as Jan Zoutevella is looking for the outside. Here's the Porsche Cup cars flying towards the first corner, all safely through for the most part up the front. A jump start for Peter Duke in the Duke Collier Motorsports machine. Camto Chukwa looking for it round the outside here. We're free abreast for the Mercedes Arena. It's a big lunge down the inside for Nicky Charlier, but he's just got it stopped on the brakes.
Yeah, couldn't quite get it done very, very quickly. Jordan Kelly almost Verstappen-esque, closing the door immediately. Oh, there's a big accident. Jan Zoutevella getting turned around by Nicky Charlier, our race winner in race number 1 last week. Won't be able to repeat the trick this week. He's out.
Yeah, very aggressive first lap for Nicky Charlier, who's made contact with the Dutchman, and Jean Zoutevella gets spun round. Conor Melia is looking to pick up some of the scraps there, you can see, in the blue and white Porsche car. As is Nicky Charlier right behind, and he's lunging. Dylan McClement's down the inside once again, and there's not much space being left by the young Antrim man, and that is Dylan McClement, who sweeps round the outside. You've got to wake up early in the morning to pull that move off on one of the McClements or Doherty clan, and through the Schumacher S's, Nicky Charlier may have another go, but Jordan Kelly leads by 2.3.
Yeah, Kelly be delighted with all this going on behind him. 2.3, and that gap's only going to keep rising if Nicky Charlier keeps sticking his nose in down the inside of Dylan McClement. It's a good battle here between Potato Nation and High Pre. That's Rory O'Shea and Simran Tacker duking, a transatlantic duke across, and Rory isn't even on the west coast. Here's Dr. Dean Power on the going up against Lawrence. No, he's going up against Jared Love here, the 4 car, for Duke Collier Motorsport. He gets the better of that battle as we see a car pulling in. That is, I think that's Peter Duke, is it? Yeah, did Peter Duke have a stop go? I think he did for,
Yeah.
unfortunately for him. Right, back to the front. Jordan Kelly now 3 seconds. And Nicky Charlier tries to move down the inside on Dylan McClements and gets it stopped on the apex. He's going to force McClements now in a battle with Brandon McGon. These guys know each other exceptionally well, but McClements isn't giving this one up. He gets a tap. He gets sent around. Conor Melia takes evasive action. And unfortunately for Dylan McClements, I think he probably manufactured that one himself.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to definitely take a look at a replay on that one. That was 2 hotheads going at it by the looks of things. Kevin Joyce telling us Nicky's nickname is Maverick in the Potato Nation circles. You can certainly see just diving down the inside at any given opportunity. Let's have another look. The Gantry TV replay. So Nicky parks on the apex nicely. Nothing wrong with that. Dylan then dives it down the inside of the number 9 where there was no real gap. He leaned on the number 9 and that caused him to spin round.
Yeah, our race director Ronan Hedeman reckoning that could have come from behind, and I reckon he might have a good point there. I think the contact might have actually been behind and not on the side. I've been playing a lot of Le Mans Ultimate recently, and there's an awful lot of that type of thing where you get contact to the side and the car inexplicably spins around. But in iRacing, that's less likely to happen. Side-to-side contact doesn't involve as many spins, so I think Ronan could be very right there in that the contact came from behind, and that would have been... Trying to think, it would have been a green and white car in the background. Oh, there's a bit of untidiness here now as Simran Thakkar and Peter McCann continue it. Simran's now got a slowdown. As we talked about earlier, the Michael Schumacher S's, they don't give you instant points, but they give you a slowdown, which is even worse as Simran tags the back of Jared Loves, tries to slip in, but didn't quite get that one right with Jared on the brakes. Thankfully, neither of them falling foul of that one majorly. But Jordan Kelly now 4.3 ahead. This is going to be a fairly comfortable coast home for the Donegal.
Yes, it is. This is an excellent performance by Buncrana's Jordan Kelly. And that was a scary moment for Simran Thakkar, who has Dr. Power behind him. Not our first doctor in RTA. Of course, we've got to remember Dr. Naveed Hussain, the RTA driver who in the LMP2s scored 92 points, got 91 of a penalty and ended up on 1 point for the season. So that is
Naveed Hussain, though, I can tell you from commentating on him before, anything that has no differential, Naveed, is if it's a TCR car or anything front wheel drive TCR V8 supercars, Naveed is an absolute rocket.
Yeah, we were all kind of surprised that he didn't do the TCR season that we did here in RTA because he was a weapon. But hopefully Naveed is doing well. If he's watching at home. Conor Melia is now behind Brandon McGowan. We are riding on board here with Conor, who's having a much better week here at the Nurburgring than he was at the Red Bull Ring. Still picked up a 4th and a 5th place in Austria, but pace seems a little bit better tonight. He's chasing down Brandon McGowan, who's in front. I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon got a slowdown for that. No, Sean McGoldrick did, though, so he's been overtaken by Rory O'Shea. Rory up 11 positions in this race so far.
Yeah, he's flying, Rory, in fairness. He's definitely the biggest gainer on the grid. Dylan McClements down 15 after that contact. Adam Dowling up 11 places. So he did take the grid, did Adam, in the number 23 RTA machine. And he's up 11 places already. So he's up into 25th position. Jared Love is right up there as well. He's up 2 places. Tony Griffin seems to have had an issue, though. He's falling down the grid.
Yeah, disappointing for Tony. He's fallen all the way down to 24th now. There he is, pulled over just before the chicane. So Tony has not had a good time of things. I wonder, is there going to be a pull into the pit lane here with damage? No, seems to be carrying on. So, a bit of a weird one. I wonder, was he shoved out or something and just had to slow it down? But nevertheless, here comes Jack Wynn attacking that's Jack Wynn defending from Jared Love, and Wynn's got it wrong, and Jared Love is able to sneak up the inside. Little bit of a hip check from Jared Love. Jack Wynn dives it back up the inside, heading through turn 2.
Yeah, that's definitely a robust move, I think, but it'll be up to the stewards to decide that. The drivers obviously involved have an opportunity to report instances, and it's up to the stewards to decide what happens. A good battle here between Dean Power and Simran Thakkar. This battle has been going for the entire race between these two cars, and Simran has Eric Killeen behind him in the Shamrock Motorsports car, so that's going to be a very interesting one. Oh, we have a spinner. That is Eric Killeen. So, yep, just put the commentator's curse by just simply mentioning his name. Unfortunately, the number 2 car goes off and rejoins safely. Safe joins Lee, and as he gets back onto the track. Just an update. Thank unit for not spoiling the latest in the Arsenal game. They did score, however, the goal was ruled out by VAR. So I'm still waiting on a legitimate goal that hasn't been spoiled in this game.
Well, hopefully that comes for Kevin's sake. For the rest of us, we've got 3 minutes of racing action here. Kamto Chukwa has got underneath Conor Melia here and is heading up the hill. Will now be on the outside heading through the high-speed chicane. This is going to be who's going to back off first. And it will be Kamto who backs off and lets the number 56 head through. And Conor Melia will break that a little bit later. Rory O'Shea. Oh no, just a timing tower. As Brandon has just got a slow down here. So that's heading through the chicane. So that's going to create a fight for the podium, the final podium place.
Yeah, we still have about 2 laps left here by my reckoning in this one. So Brandon managing to serve the slowdown quite well. And that's the thing about these guys, these quick guys. They're not just quick, but they know all the tricks as well. So Brandon not losing too much time there in the slowdown. Harvey Dara, we talked about him last week. He's a race winner in race 2. He's now on the back of Sean McGoldrick and has the backside of the dinosaur to contend with in that 27 machine. Harvey will be a little bit disappointed that he didn't qualify better, but he's up 2 places. Yeah, it's Jordan Kelly who still leads, then Nicky Charlier in 2nd place, although Nicky may get penalty points depending on what the stewards' thoughts of that incident between himself and... I can't remember who was he in the opening part of the race, but then it was Jan Zoutfeld. Sorry, it was Jan Zout. He turned around. Then Brandon McGahan up 4 places, Conor Melia up 4 places, Kamto Chukwa down 3 places, and Rory O'Shea up 11 places.
Yeah, good races from Rory O'Shea, and we're looking at him right now in the number 81 behind Kamto Chukwa and Conor Melia. It is oh, there's a spin. That's Harvey Dara, who's gone round, and it's been not a trouble-free evening for Harvey Dara so far. He's been caught up in quite a bit. Let's have a look at the replay here. That's Sean McGoldrick in Rexy in front. Did a move down the inside. Looks well like it was a spin on his own for Harvey Dara. And yeah, that is unfortunately what happens in these Porsche Cup cars.
Yeah, a slippy whippy from Harvey Darby and almost caused a massive upsy-dupsy by coming back across the track, but thankfully didn't cause any more problems. Peter McCann is having a good race. He's up 6 places, the number 35 car, and battling there. I missed that because I went to look at my timing tower, but in a big battle there and win. Unfortunately, Jack's getting a bullied a little bit around here, I think, Evan.
Yeah, he is. That's not the first time that it's been close quarters racing involving Jack Wynne. We're looking at this battle for 4th again, but Jack Wynne is in 10th between himself, and the battle is between himself, Peter, and Jared Love. Dean Power could get involved, as could Simran. 10 minutes on the clock, but because of the fast pace of Jordan Kelly, we've got 1 more lap. So this will be the white flag lap and complete our race. Lee Cogan is trying to defend from Dave Collier behind. The DC Motorsport cars are certainly trying to make up places here. Dave Collier is up 6 spots in this one, and it's been a good effort from him so far.
Yeah, just to give you a sense of Jordan's pace, his last lap was a 1:53.9. 2nd place is Nicky Charlier. His was a 1:55.0. And then we have 54, 55, 55, 56, 55, 55. So that'll give you a sense. He's over a second faster than everybody else on the grid is Jordan Kelly. And
that was quicker than his quali lap.
Yeah, it's insane. He seems to have really gotten into the flow of this one, and Jordan's used to leading from the front. He has no problem with the pressure being at the front, and I would fear for the other drivers in race 2 if he gets away clean and manages to cover off any early lunge, because Jordan is rapid around here.
Yep. You want to beat Jordan, you got to get in front of him, and Conor Melia has made an error here, and Kamto Chukwa has found his way through for 4th place. If Rory O'Shea may try it, no he won't, he'll just back off, try get a better run for the chicane and go for it in the last corner. Conor Melia very quick through there. Jordan Kelly takes the checker across the line to the tune of 7.5 seconds, and Kamto Chukwa, Conor Melia tried one up the inside, but Kamto's got away here, has he? No, he's pulled over, so there might have been contact or something between the two. Conor Melia will take 4th.
Yeah, Connor just about managing to take fourth, and I'm not surprised that Rory O'Shea didn't try anything. He's had a brilliant race, no need to spoil it by going in late. And of course, we have that reverse grid race at the end as well. We see all of the other drivers piling in behind them. Jamal Gandor coming across the line in 25th, just ahead of Mladen Stretkovic, who is a German native himself, so will be very at home in this car and track combination. But yeah, Peter Duke crossed the line. Unfortunately for Peter, qualified high up the grid, but just too many issues. Of course, jumping the start as well didn't help him at all. And here's Adam Dowling. He was up to 25th at one point, was Adam Dowling, so he must have had an issue. It crashed out. He's still up 3 places and ahead of some of the other drivers as well. But unfortunately, Tony Griffin, Peter Duke, and Simon Hutchings, the big Losers here. Jan Zoutveld, of course, for his instant as well. They are both in the losses of double figures as Aidan Moore. The Dundee United fan is not a Duke Collier Motorsport, but he is running an orange and black livery in tribute to his Tangerines, who, I will tell you, I was going to say, did they lose or did they win the Dundee Derby? I was trying to...
They conceded a last-minute equaliser.
Oh, well, there you go. Not a good week so for Aidan Moore, who comes across the line in 35th position.
No, it went about as well as that race did seem late for Aidan Moore. But Jordan Kelly really making it worth everyone's time being here this evening by beating them by 7.4 seconds. What an excellent performance that is. Nicky Charlier in second, Brandon McGaughan in third, then Conor Melia, Cantor Chuka, Rory O'Shea, Sean McGoldrick, Colin O'Regan, Peter McCann, Jack Wynne, Jared Love, Dean Power, Simran Tacker, Lawrence de Salsworth, Dylan McClements, Lee Cogan, Dave Collier, Harvey Dara, Dara O'Connor, Michael Corrie in the Aries Autosport car in 20th position. Then we look a little bit further than Michael Corrie in 21st, Stephen Donnelly, Dermot Toomey 22nd, Jan Zoutevella, Mladen Shrejkovic, Jamal Gandor, and it was Eric Killeen, Tony Griffin, Ian May, David Edwards, and Peter Duke in 30th. And behind Peter we had Grace McCallion, Sean Smith, Adam Dowling, Sean Cullen, Aidan Moore, Simon Hutchings, and Matt O'Donoghue not taking the green.
Yep, all set up now for a superb second race. Can anyone beat Jordan Kelly? Let's see what happens.
Well, here comes Jordan Kelly once again. You got to get in front of him at this first corner if you want a chance to win, as we go racing here once again. And that's a great start for Nicky Charlier, who might try be brave on the brakes round the outside. And you see, no, nice and early on the brakes. Actually caught out Camto, or Brandon, I should say, behind. And Conor Melia is able to get side by side here with Nicky Charlier now, sporting the Star-Spangled Banner. And Conor Melia looking to try and make the move here, sometimes sporting the Ivory Coast flag on his machine, but not this evening. Rory O'Shea not able to get a move there, and they're all fairly close, but Jordan Kelly's already pulled a gap.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly pulling a gap, and it seems rather fitting that on the day that the Taoiseach visited the White House, we have a good ding-dong battle involving an Irishman and an American as well on the grid. 2 drivers jumped to start, Jared Love and Jan Zoutevella. That's a big one for Jan. It's been a disastrous evening for him. This will almost certainly be his drop round for the Dutchman. Thanks to everyone for getting in on the chat, as well as Jack Wynne has a little bit of a hip and shoulder on Simran Tacker, manages to get ahead of that in the Sim Magic number 36 car. The comment so far of the evening goes to Kevin Joyce, who says 37 racers at an Irish Sim Racing Championship on Paddy's Day. A decade ago, we'd have all been in the pub at this hour. Well, the new generation, Kevin, what can I say?
I'll answer that one for you, Kevin. The majority of people are old now, and the ones of us who aren't old are boring. There you go. Yeah. That's why we're all here.
Yeah. The drivers who do have lives aren't taking the grid this evening and are using it as their drop round. Right, Nicky's under a bit of pressure now from Rory O'Shea, and he's been passed by Conor Melia already. So I wonder, did he have a bit of an off, did Nicky? And now he's Brandon McGaughan trying to slip down the inside. He's left the door open. The 89 is only going to take it with open arms and slips by Nicky Charlier, who's had a disastrous third sector from second down to fifth in the space of just a few short corners.
Yeah, the message to the grid from Nicky Charlier in the first race is, I'm going to be aggressive. So he's getting hit with what he brought and now is under pressure from Camto Chukwu, but Camto just that little bit far behind. Jack wins, Simran Tacker side by side, huge lunge down the inside by Dylan McClements on LD, and that is Dylan who is flying in this race so far. He's now on the outside of Simran Tacker, and the 88 is looking for this one around the outside once again. This takes a brave man. The net inside is Dylan's line on the next corner, and he's pushed it right up against the Armco. Tacker and McClellan still side by side, and it is going to be Simran in the 38 who has the inside line for this next corner, but Dylan, we know, is brave and tries to fling it round the outside. Who's going to be latest in towards the next right-hander? Use all of that curb on the inside. Dylan pushes Simran over the exit, but they are still neck and neck in towards the Dunlop curve of turn number 7. Dylan McClemens breaks earlier. Simran outbreaks him. Brilliant racing between the two, but Tacker's run wide, and Dylan McClemens' perseverance has got him to place.
Yeah, it's superb racing. I mean, between Simran and Dylan, and side by side all the way through several corners, and Simran unfortunately just outbreaking himself, never mind the young Antrim man going into the Dunlop curve, and eventually Dylan winning that battle. And we were talking about it before the race about drivers needing to put it up to Dylan, and hopefully Dylan not running away with the championship. But he's certainly not had it his own way this evening, and he'll be foaming at the mouth to try and get back in that top 8 and try and get up towards the front of the grid and get some decent points at the end of this evening.
Yes, this is quite good racing in this second heat so far, being well received by us here in the commentary booth. I think that's largely... Oh, someone's made a mess of it. That is Adam Dowling.
Stephen Donnelly, I think.
Stephen Donnelly.
Stephen Donnelly off the background in the number 30 machine. I'm sure Adam won't take it personally. Stephen Donnelly comes back on Grace McCallion trying to get around him. Let's have a look. Was this cause or effect from Stephen Donnelly? Number 30 car comes through here, and keep an eye now. We're going to go through the chicane here, the NGK chicane. I'm being reliably informed, and yeah, just loses it. Just takes too much curb on the inside, and unfortunately, the number 30 turns into a part-time trampoline and ends off on the far side of the circuit.
As old LD's gone, that's LD facing the wrong way, and that is Dave Collier at a corner later, and that's someone else there involved. Is that Colin O'Regan? It is. I saw orange. I feared it was his teammate, but it's Colin O'Regan and Dave Collier and LD who've gone round. It's very hectic racing here in the 15-minute long second heat. Down the inside goes Eric Killeen on Tony Griffin, and that is a nice move from Eric to get ahead of Tony, but Tony's going to try fight this one back into the same corner where Dylan got past Simran. The number 10 is going to try outbreak Killeen, and he has outbroke him, but Eric Killeen had enough of an advantage to rotate in through that corner, and Tony Griffin, I tell you what, he's put up a good effort to try get back down the inside, but Eric Killeen has this one. It is a Schumacher SS.
Yeah, superb battling, and it's mad to think that these guys are so far down the grid. Tony obviously had a very disappointing incident in the opening race, and he'll be trying to make back up some lost ground. I would say for Lawrence de Soswa, and I know Lawrence well enough to know that I can say this, that's karma for Lawrence for going off there, and I'll tell you why. Because all of Lawrence created the Potato Nation, and yet despite the fact that Potato Nation have their own livery, Lawrence is choosing to run his own livery with his own sponsors on it, and I think that's karma for Lawrence.
A random call out for LD. Rory O'Shea, last of the late breakers down the inside, nails the downshift to first gear, gets the car rotated in, power on beautifully, and sends Conor Melia packing back down the order. Great move by Rory, who's up to second here. Rory O'Shea, what happened the last time he raced at the Nurburgring in RTA? Well, I will tell you, folks. It was in the Super Formula Lights, and he won the 20-minute long heat free. Who did he beat in that one? None other than Buncrana's Jordan Kelly.
Well, there you go. They'll be 7th and 8th on the grid for the final race if things stay the way they are at the moment. But fair play to Rory O'Shea. He was up 11 places in the opening race, and he's up 4 places in this race, so 15 places gained over the 2 races, and not 15 places gained from 30th down to 15th. This is 15 places gained to put him on the second step of the podium in the second race. So really good effort here by Rory. Whatever happened in qualifying, he certainly got his act together in the race and showing some superb pace. So certainly he will be hoping to open that gap between himself and Conor Melia area as Brandon McGahan is sneaking in there. Brandon's been really consistent so far this evening and has put it up to a couple of different drivers, so he'll be hoping to bag himself a podium before the evening's out.
Yeah, who else scored their first RTA podium back in that Super Formula Lights race here at the Nurburgring? Battled Rory O'Shea for the win. Well, it was our scholarship winner, Kamto Chukwa, would you believe? So that's how far ago that race was. But Brandon McGahan, who made his debut in LMP2s, if you really want to care, is pushing real race car driver Conor Melia in towards the final corner. This is Dylan McClements and Jack Wynne. This could be a good fight. I can't remember a time where Jack and Dylan have gone side by side, but Dylan McClements is into the slipstream of the number 36 in front and is looking for a move into the first corner.
Yeah, let's see how aggressively Jack Wynne battles him, because Jack has been done there. Dylan exceptionally late on the brakes. Jack's going to come around the outside. Dylan taking the inside curb, bouncing down there big time on that graded curb, and Jack manages just enough to park it in front of the 88 machine. Jack Wynne now in 9th place at the moment. He's up 1 from where he started, and I know he'll be pushing to try and see if he can get into that 8th position, which of course will mean pole position in this reversed grid final race. If you don't know that at this point and you haven't joined us, then leave us a comment and let us know and we'll explain it to you. Otherwise, we'll take it that everybody else knows, because everyone here probably has a very good idea. Right, Conor Melia all over the back of Rory O'Shea. He hasn't managed to get quite the gap that he would have liked in the 81 car, but at the same time, Conor isn't really able to make a move here, and both these guys kind of treading water for the moment.
Yeah, Nicky Charlier has got past Brandon McGahan, so it might have been a mistake there for the Michael Schumacher S for Brandon. Rare to see him make a mistake. He's been quite good in this Porsche Cup car so far. Current running order is Jordan Kelly up the top, Rory O'Shea second, then it is Conor Melia, Nicky Charlier, then it is Brandon McGahan, but he's gone blinky blink, and Kamto Chukwa is behind him somewhere. This is a very scary moment for an iRacer. Trust me, anyone who's been on the service knows how awful it feels, but Kamto doesn't have to worry about it because Brandon has decided to make another mistake and let the Dunboyne man through. Kamto on the inside, still going to be side by side here. Brandon's not going to give this one up as easy as I've suggested, and he'll be on the outside in towards the first corner. So Kamto Chukwa is on the inside, Brandon on the outside. Guinness versus Jägermeister. It's not just happening in the Irish pubs of a Tuesday, it's happening into the Nurburgring first corner, and Brandon's run very wide indeed, but he'll have this inside line for turn number 2, and I think he's just about defended it.
Yeah, and as you say, on a Tuesday night, and about the hour where pints of Guinness are being switched for shots of Jägermeister. The Jägermeister won this battle as well, going through the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Definitely a 1x there for Brandon, but he'll take it. He's through ahead of one of our scholarship winners. Speaking of the scholarship series, Kevin Joyce reminds us, fellow RTA historian, that the last time Jack and Dylan went head-to-head was at Brands Hatch in the V's, and I do believe that was in the Druids corner, and as he reminds us, it didn't end well. Certainly not for Dylan McClements in that one, so great memory from Kevin Joyce. I do remember that instant, Dylan being turned around, unfortunately, in a race that was fairly forgettable for him. I'm pretty sure that evening he also got involved in an incident with his brother, which is very unusual. Usually the two of them, when they're together, stay completely out of all kinds of controversy. Jack Wynne in 9th position on the back of Peter McCann, and Jack has held really steady here against Dylan McClements. This has been a very impressive drive from the 36 car.
It has. It's been a very good drive, and he's got the job done on Peter McCann here. That's a mistake from Peter, and Jack whips around the outside. Dylan McClements now pushing Peter McCann under a bit of pressure, but Peter has no momentum heading into the fast chicane, so Dylan is going to be able to get that one done there, and that is nice moves from Jack and Dylan, but Dylan's made a little bit of a mistake now. Thought it was going to be worse. Salvaged that one well.
Yeah, I did Dylan, in fairness. And I'd say Jack Wynne was thinking, great, at least I have a bit of a gap between myself and Dylan. Oh, okay, maybe not. Because I think he was a bit of Peter was a bit of a lame duck there to be taken. There is the 31 of Aidan Moore, and much like a last-minute equaliser against your team, he finds himself rather disappointedly waiting on the outside for things to resume once again. Right, Nicky Charlier Charlier in 4th position. He's had a very incident-packed race as the number 9. I think he's Potato Nation. Yes, Potato Nation is Nicky. He's also not running the Potato Nation livery. Is the number 9 car, but it's worked out better for him than Lawrence de Sosba on the back of
Nice
Peter
livery also.
Melia. Lovely livery. Very Super GT-esque almost. Jordan Kelly, though, 6.3 seconds a gap. It is absolutely enormous. And as one other commenter said here, Jordan Kelly dominance could bore fans. That sounds like it sounds like a headline on motorsport.com.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So, just on the liveries, you have Jordan Kelly running a very well-made Aaron Tile sponsored livery, Rory O'Shea in a High Prix livery for his esports team, Conor Melia running a livery similar to his real Formula V scheme, Nicky Charlier running a livery which I believe is something to do with him because there's Nick Sim or something on the side of it, but very professional looking job. Then you have Top Shelf versus On the Bar behind for 5th and 6th. So Brandon and Campto, and then you've Rexy. So it gets worse as we go along.
Well, Kevin Joyce said earlier that a decade ago we'd all be at the pub, but now we've just learned to bring the pub to us. So that's how we've gotten over that problem. Peter McCann's still battling with Dylan McClements, and he's hoping that McClements will make a mistake as we get towards the 15-minute race. Controversial take. Now, I know not my first of this evening. I know Lawrence de Sosva will agree. I have to say, Nurburgring hasn't really delivered the kind of excitement that I was hoping for. It's just not really a super exciting track, I have to say.
I am a firm believer that the Hockenheim Ring is a much better track than the Nurburgring.
Yeah, I would agree, which is obviously one that we ran at last season and proved very good as Harvey goes down the inside and Dr. Pepper. Oh, all very untidy there from the two of those guys. And Harvey getting through on 27th. Adam Dowling said, Peter will crash. Also, it's a terrible track. Right, Lawrence and Sosser coming in to serve, I presume, a drive-through. And speaking of Adam Dowling, there is his 29 car sitting in the pits, which is what's allowing him to comment on our stream. So, hello, Adam.
Rory O'Shea ahead of Conor Melia here. This is in the battle for best of the rest. Best of the non-Jordan Kelly drivers. Conor Melia in second in the best of the non-Jordan Kellys, or third. I'm very interested to see how Jordan plays this Heat 3 though. The first 3 laps of Heat 3 could be cracking. We had similar dominance here before from Ronan Doherty and Jordan in the Hockenheim Ring. That was swiftly dealt with by Finlay Melvin. Unfortunately, Finlay not on the grid here this evening, so something quite good for Jordan to take a hat-trick of wins.
Unfortunately, our Scottish drivers of recent note tend to be more off track than on track, and perhaps that may be to do with something that of the top shelf and bottom shelf variety that we've seen, but I won't say any more on that. Simon Hutchings, another Celtic cousin, getting involved, and while we're talking nonsense, Jordan Kelly's just gone and won it with a 7.2 second gap, and a big battle there. Brandon McGahan must have made a mistake late on. We saw some contact there and somebody going round. I wonder, was Brandon involved in it? Unfortunately for him, he's dropped way back, which has opened the door for Rory O'Shea, Conor Melia, and Nicky Charlier to come through in 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Yes, and it's going to be Jack Wynne on the reverse pole in 8th position. So Jack lost out on 7th by 0.075, but he will be leading us away in heat number 3 nonetheless. So Jordan Kelly race win, Rory O'Shea 2nd, Conor Melia 3rd, Nicky Charlier 4th, Campto, Sean, Brandon, Jack. It will be your top 8 and on the reverse grid. Crystal Palace fan David Edwards comes home in 28 there, we just see on our screen, as we all wait for Lawrence to trundle his way through.
Yeah, it's a mixed evening for London clubs in the Champions League. That's certainly not something that Crystal Palace fans have to worry about in any time in the recent future. But yeah, Chelsea losing to PSG, Arsenal winning, and Grace McCallion coming across the line in 30th position. That is our second race almost done and dusted. Good to see Sean Smith getting across the line. He's also running a Guinness livery, and Jared Love, another Scottish driver, unfortunately getting caught up in contact. Jared was actually one of, I suppose, our upper mid-pack so far, and just testing out the camber of the car there. But yeah, it's little bit disappointing for Jared in that one, but hopefully we'll have an opportunity to speak to some of our drivers who fared slightly better in this second race.
So, Jordan Kelly takes the race win ahead of Rory O'Shea in second, Conor Melia in third, Nicky Scherlier in fourth, ahead of Camper Chukwa in fifth. And it is right. Let's rally through these folks. Sean McGoldrick, Brandon McGaughan, Jack Wynne, Dylan McClements, Peter McCann, Simber Tacker, Harvey Dara, Dean Power, Dermot Toomey, Lee Cogan, Michael Corrie, Tony Griffin, Eric Killeen, Mladen Shrekovic, and Jan Zautivella in 20th. Stephen Donnelly, Dave Collier, Colin O'Regan, Sean Cullen, Simon Hutchings, Ian May, Darragh O'Connor, David Edwards, Lawrence de Salsa, Sean Smith, Jared Love, Grace McCallion, Adam Dowling, Peter Duke, Aidan Moore, Jamal Gandor, Matt O'Donoghue. Let's hear from our race winner then, Jordan Kelly. Jordan, congratulations. It is 2 from 2. In the sake of entertainment, could you slow down, please?
What am I slowing down about?
Could you slow down for us for the sake of entertainment?
Yeah. I don't know. I probably end up spinning because any lap I do, I'm just not slowing down. Like I'm pushing every lap, so there is very likely I can spin any lap. But this reverse grid race should be it should be entertaining.
Jordan. Every week, Jordan.
In the words of Kyle Busch, every insert the beef here week. Yeah.
Anyways.
So, what is it with this car and this track combination that just suits you? Because you are miles in front of the rest.
I think the VR is helping a lot. You can see the car kind of like just stepping out enough that it's not losing grip, but it's just on the edge kind of. I think that's helping the most of it, I think, really. But no, it seems to it's working well anyways. But happy enough.
Heat 3 then, of course, bit of a different ball game. You don't get the pleasure of starting on pole position. It is 8th place. Talk us through your approach for this one, because this is very different to what we may have seen in the V's.
Yeah, well, there's 20 minutes, so I just need to try and get a good start and hopefully not get into crashes and try and work from there, hopefully. But anything can happen in these cars because it's so easy to spin them, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, Jordan, best of luck and congratulations.
Thanks, Evan.
So good to hear from Jordan Kelly here, and in second place, Rory O'Shea.
Rory O'Shea, great pleasure to have you back with us again. It's been a while since we've got to head down to the beautiful county of Wexford. You have had a phenomenal race pace, having been a little bit back in qualifying. Can you kind of explain what your evening's been like thus far?
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in the qualifying. Like, I feel like maybe that's nearly down to my lack of kind of time on sim recently, so I just couldn't get the lap in. But once I got into the flow of the racing, I actually was able to kind of gain a lot of positions, especially on the first laps of the races. I was kind of able to get out of the chaos, most importantly, and just kind of pick off a few guys in front of me.
Yeah, 11 places on the first race. You had a further 4 places, I think, in this race. I suppose you're definitely in bonus territory here, being on the podium of the second race. You can't imagine that would have happened too easily, considering where you started.
No, they should have told me, especially after my race last week. I think I spun out in every 3 races. So if you'd told me I was going to be on the podium this week, I wouldn't have believed you. So, yeah, no, I'm really happy with how it's going so far.
Yeah, are you getting more used to these Porsche Cup cars?
Yeah, for sure. I've always struggled with cars with ABS. So that's kind of been a bit of a learning curve for me because I'm trying to learn how to brake properly. So I am obviously improving by the looks of it. So let's hope that trend continues.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rory, second place, massively well deserved. I mean, a big surprise to yourself and indeed all of us. Congratulations, and you never know, I might be speaking to you again after race 3.
Yeah, hopefully so. Thanks, Ben.
So Rory O'Shea there, and I don't see is Conor Melia who we have joining Evan for the last of our intermediate interviews.
Conor, congratulations. First podium of the season. Not the world's biggest fan of this Porsche Cup car, but it seems to be going well for you tonight.
Yeah, no, I hate this car and I hate this track, and this is just hateful. But yeah, no, everyone just seems to be dying, so we're up there.
Pace definitely seems to be there as well, though. Has it just kind of clicked in an unenjoyable way?
I just think everyone else is having the same issues except Jordan that I am. Like, Jordan's a second faster than anyone else. So yeah, I think Jordan's the only one who's figured it out.
Well, Connor, we're going to let you go and get ready for heat number 3. Hopefully, you enjoy it a little bit more than the first 2.
Cheers.
So good to hear from all of our top 3 there: Jordan, Rory, and Connor Melia. Mixed opinions on this Porsche Cup, certainly, it seems, Kevin.
Yeah, funny. You hear about Rory saying that he's really enjoying getting into it, and then immediately you just hear hate, hate, hate. And I can kind of get both sides, I'll be totally honest with you. But a man who'll be hoping that he'll be loving this evening is our Jack Wynn, who kicks off our final feature race on pole position.
Yes, it is Jack Wynn on pole, Brandon McGaughan in second, Sean McGoldrick in third, Campto Chukwa in the Maffey Esports in fourth, and it is Nicky Charlier, Conor Melia on row 3, Rory O'Shea, Jordan Kelly on row 4, Dylan McClements, Peter McCann 9 and 10, Simran Tacker and Harvey Dara 11 and 12. That's a fairly stacked top 12. Could be an interesting battle, depending on Jordan's pace. But keep an eye on Jack, on Brandon. If Jordan gets caught up in battles here, this could very easily fall the way of one of the frontrunners. But it's 20 minutes around the Nurburgring in the Porsche Cup, and it is scholarship winner Jack Wynn on the front row. Great start for Brandon McGaughan, though, on the inside, and Jack Wynn has to do that Max Verstappen-esque cover off in towards the first corner and give the Ballycastle native a bit of a shove. But Brandon perseveres, and he's going to keep lunging it down the inside and look for the better line. But Jack Wynn, crucially, will have the inside here for turn number 2, and he's going to use all of that red and white curb nicely and circle it round, and Brandon McGaughan still on the outside here. Is he going to try and push it down the inside, Dylan McClements-esque? Course he is. Brandon dives for the inside, looks to run Jack Wynn wide. Jack Wynn wasn't able to pull off the switchback, and Brandon McGaughan leads here, heading down towards the left-hander. Jack Wynn, though, is going to try and push it round the outside through turn number 5 in towards the forward curve of turn number 6. What a start to this race.
Yeah, tight as a duck's rear end between these two. Unbelievable racing. Brandon's going to try and get a move down the outside, but Jack is definitely going to keep it on the inside. He's not giving this pole position up, is the streamer. Brandon running wide. There's no grip on the outside there. Jack gets the lead. So about 1-0 to the streamer over the real world driver for the moment, but we can be sure the battle has been won. This war is far from over.
Yes, Jordan Kelly still in 7th position. He has Rory O'Shea and Dylan McClements behind. Peter McCann's picked up a slowdown for the Schumacher-S's, but as they head through the left-hander, the RTC curve at turn number 10, in towards turn number 11, Jack Wynn needs to get a crucial exit here. Brandon kicks up a bit of dust, but nothing that'll slow him down too much. Jack Wynn able to pull away up the hill here, though. Nicky Charlier looking to try and attack Brandon McGaughan in front of him, and Nicky looking to do one of his good friends, Jack Wynn, a favour here through the fast endurance variation of the chicane. And to complete the opening lap, there's a lunge down the inside from Dylan McClements, and he's just given Conor Melia a little bit of a nudge and just letting Melia know that he's here, wants his position, but crucially doesn't have a slipstream down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, it doesn't have it, unfortunately, which means he's probably going to lose out on the outside here as Jordan Kelly up into 6th position, but he's certainly being kept on as Jordan touches the back of Brandon McGaughan, or Sean McGoldrick, should I say, sorry. Not the most graceful move, I think, fair to say, from Jordan Kelly, but Rory O'Shea follows him through. So Rory getting through that one and managing to get himself into 6th position.
Yeah, unintentional pun from you there, Kevin, saying it was the most graceful move, because, of course, I'm not explaining it. If you get it, you get it. But Jack Wynn still in the race lead. Brandon McGaughan in 2nd. Bit of separation here, but Jack Wynn driving very well. All that mini experience in Mondello today coming in handy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was a track day course in Mondello today, so a lot of these guys will be coming off the back of that. And straight into the virtual car, so not getting anywhere near a pub today. But there's a lot more to our national holiday than just pointing. There's the occasional shot as well. Right, Jack is leading now by almost a second here. I'm going to find it fascinating. If Jack has a 2 or 3 or 4 second gap and we have about 15 minutes left and Jordan Kelly has a bit of free space in front of him, it's going to be like the hare hunting down the rabbit. I cannot wait to see whether it plays out like that. Dylan McClements in 9th position. Connor has a slowdown, Conor Melia. As we said, those Schumacher curve having a bit of impact on that, and that going to open the door as well for Harvey Dara, who's going to have look down the inside. He does indeed, does Harvey Dara up into 9th position. Unfortunately, neither Harvey nor Robbie will be driving for Wildfire and Sebring thanks to pesky college projects, etc., etc. So we're going to be
Harvey
without
actually
our.
rightfully pointing out to us last week that he is not the member of Wildfire Racing. It's Dara Halley who is. So
What
we
Tara Halley? Oh my God! Oh
we
Jesus!
both got
It's
that
my
very
team.
wrong.
It's my team, so I should know. And I did it 24 hours with him in January, so I should know. My apologies to Dara Halley.
Dara
Should
Halley
know
really.
that.
He
Should
said
know.
it at the end of Incidents last week. He goes, just while everyone's here, can I ask a question? Have I been recruited to Wildfire Racing? Oh, more importantly, Simon Hutchings, the Welshman, has been sent round, and Wales getting a result in the rugby on Saturday. Simon not getting one here at the Nurburgring, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think if Simon's form continues, he's going to have to put an "un" at the beginning of that livery because I certainly wouldn't call his racing at the moment tidy AF. Sean McGoldrick in 6th position, Adam Dowling in 22nd. He's back up to 22nd now, Adam. He decided to drive the car this time and didn't join us in the chat. So let's see how he gets on. He has Dave Collier in front of him. He's Jared Love behind him. He's a bit of a DC Motorsport sandwich. Sean in the Rexy number 7 car managed to survive that tap earlier from Jordan Kelly, but that opened the door for Dylan McClemens to come through. And Campto is quietly, as Ronan read my mind, up into 4th position. Bit of a send there from Jordan Kelly. Campto managing to get ahead, but I do suspect that's only going to be a temporary position because Jordan has the pace this evening.
Yes, let's see how this one plays out. And this is interesting. Jordan not getting it all his own way like he got in the first 2 heats. He is finding it difficult to cut through cars here. And looking at the lap times, he's only a handful of tenths quicker, but you can see the speed he's able to carry heading through the chicane. But look, just can't get past the Porsche 992 of Campto Chukwit in front. But he's got a much better exit than the Mafia Esports driver, so you would fancy him on the brakes in towards turn number 1. But as long as Campto stays within reasonable distance of Nicky Charlier in front, he is picking up the slipstream. So Jordan, it's on him to get brave. Brave he's got. The Bunkranaman is down the inside, and that is a beauty of a move from Jordan Kelly. And Campto, is he able to get it back done round the outside? No, not quite. Jordan definitely with the advantage in towards these next 2 sections of corners, and he's going to use a little bit of bully ball on Campto Chukwu, shove him to the outside, make his car unstable, and get that crucial 4th position.
Yeah, that's really good stuff from Jordan, and he's just an absolute supreme control of that machine. So he'll be looking forward, certainly not backwards, as we look at the non-Wildfire driver 27, Harvey Dara. Although there are spaces available, Harvey, if you want to get involved, feel free to get involved.
I think he was actually up for it as well, to be fair.
Well, there you go. I mean, we could always do it more recruits, and that's it gets on to everyone who's watching here. If you want to get involved with Wildfire Racing, just give me you know where to find me in the Discord. Give me a DM. If you're not part of Discord as well, head over to rtavirtualmotorsports.com where you can get the link to that and indeed all of the information you need. And thanks to our other sponsors as well of the series. We've got Bois Motorsports for all of the updates. We have Trophy.ai and of course Mondello Park, who sponsor us all of the time as well. And one of our greatest sponsors of all, you can see in the car behind you, Gantry TV with the 35 there in front of you. You thought I was going in a certain direction, and I didn't go at all where you thought I was going. And I think everyone enjoyed that little bit of a fucking
thought
bait.
you were about to say Earn Childs, but you didn't. So fair play, Kevin.
No, I don't like to be overly predictable if at all possible. I know it sounds difficult, but I do like to switch things up every now and again. But yeah, right. Speaking of great sponsors, here's the Earn Childs 35 car going on Connor Melia. Connor's dropped way down the grid. Disappointing one for him. I think Connor would have harboured quietly hopes for a better final race, even though he hates this track and he hates this car. He certainly had a better running in race 2, but couldn't repeat the feat in the final one.
Yeah, imagine how much he's hating it now. Now that he's down in 12th position. Something probably been thrown out the window or something at this point. But Conor Bailey and Peter McCann scrapping for 12th and 13th, two long-time RTA drivers. But Jack Wynne very much holding his own at the front of this. Never won an RTA race has Jack Wynne. Picked up one podium last season That was at Silverstone. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting. He absolutely took off like a rat up a drain pipe earlier on, but he's starting to get clawed back now by Brandon McGahan. The gap is 0.6 of a second. I know there's lots of people in the chat will be hoping that Jaxer will pull this one out of the bag, but he is Jordan Kelly around about 2 seconds behind him, which is not a huge amount. Now, Jordan has a few cars to get through, namely Nicky Charlier, who's been certainly very aggressive this evening thus far, as Dean Power pulls off a move there through the Michelin curve on Jan Zoutevella, who is another front runner, Evan, who has had a evening to forget, unfortunately, for the Dutchman.
Yeah, not Jan's finest hour or and a half, as that's a big move from Conor Melia down the inside, and there was almost contact between Melia and Zoutevella, and the two very similarly coloured cars. Oh, big defensive block from Jan Zoutevella. He's put the big hefty shoulder in, and that is very interesting. Now, battle for the race lead in an equally similar, exciting contest. Brandon McGahan looking for the outside on Jack Wynn, but Jack has that inside line. This is a weird complex coming up the Mercedes arena. Oh, yes, excellent defending from Jack Wynn. Just covered off Brandon, so he couldn't chuck it up the inside and get the favourable line for the next two corners. Brandon going to have to work a lot harder than that if he wants to get past Baldoyle's Jack Wynn.
Yeah, certainly. Jack will be absolutely dying to get a win here because he's done exceptionally well in the V Scholarship Series, and I think now showing these guys, and again, let's remember that Jack Wynn is going to have a place on the grid in the Formula V, the Irish Formula V Series in the coming year, and you know, there's no harm in putting down a little bit of a marker on some of the other guys that he's sharing the grid with. That I might be a streamer and that might be my background, but that doesn't mean that I don't have raw pace, and it doesn't mean I can beat you on the day. So we've seen plenty of you know, even look at Suelio Almeida or any of these guys, Chris Lullum, who came from the streaming or sim racing world and got into real world racing. They're well able, and Jack will be hoping that just to put a little bit of a marker down here, and yeah, just to remind people that I'm here on merit and you're going to get a good race off me.
Yeah, this is getting tasty, isn't it? 9 minutes to go, 11 minutes in, because you know that's how 20-minute races work. But anyways,
well, that's how maths work.
Yeah, that's how maths works. 9 plus 11 equals 20. There you go, folks. There's a little bit of knowledge for you on this St. Patrick's Day evening. I really should be sacked at this point. Right, Brandon McGahan is behind Jack Wynn. 2.5 tenths of a second, heading for the final corner. The newly named Hyundai N corner, I think. Going by official track maps. That's awful. But anyways, Brandon McGahan may go last of the late breaker. Oh, I can't say that. I worked for Hyundai. Anyways, Brandon McGahan may go last of the late breakers in towards turn number 1. Brandon, is he around the outside? No. Jack Wynn just covering the defensive line here, but Brandon's fully committed on the brakes, and once again, good defense by Jack Wynn. This is a tasty scrap. When Nicky Charlier getting involved, no, he's not, because he's just been spun by Brandon McGahan.
Yeah, another Potato Nation, non-Potato Nation livery car ends up spinning around the wrong way. Coincidence? I think not. Nicky Charlier in the number 9 machine. Let's see if we can get an RTA replay of that one, because yeah, that wasn't the tidiest move of all time, and Nicky certainly being aggressive is a way of putting it. Let's see whether it was bravery or stupidity from the number 9. That was a gap. That was if see gap racing car driver go, Nicky Charlier, to quote the great certain Enna. So yeah, not a great move there from Nicky Charlier. I think he admitted himself, and that knocks him way back down to 12th position. Now, back to the front, and Jordan Kelly is making Brandon McGahan very nervous. And Brandon's almost lost it over the Schumacher S's. He's going to stick it in, though, is Brandon. He's going to eventually lose out to Jordan Kelly. Can he? Oh, that's a good move from Jordan Kelly, getting it done, pushing him out, and that was a touch and go between those two. Now that's going to invite Dylan McClements to have a go. Dylan having a great final race as well.
Yeah, we cut back from the replay, and Brandon's just like a trampoline for the Schumacher S's. Jordan Kelly now is a clean shot at Jack Wynn. Did the fastest lap on the last lap, 54.2. He qualified on pole with a 54.1. He's actually gone a second quicker around this track. Did a 53.2 in practice. So this is going to get very interesting. Jack Wynne persevered in front of Brandon McGaughan, was able to defend, and very effectively at that. What can he do with tonight's pace setter? Still in front for the time being, but Jordan, he just looks menacing. He just looks scary, dare I say, at this point. And he's not a very scary gentleman, but when you put him in a race car and he's so in tune with how it works and with the track, he is very, very scary. Jack Wynne will be feeling that pressure. But he didn't buckle under the pressure in the scholarship. Rarely buckles under the pressure does Jack Wynne. A very calm and composed man. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, not a very scary gentleman, Jordan Kelly. That's definitely quote of the series thus far from you, Evan. Thank you very much. Kevin Joyce says it should be a great end to this race. Martini versus Ern Tiles. Yeah, we've... don't really know why either of those would ever be in the same bracket, but here we are.
It was the
That's
sponsors.
RTA, folks.
Connor
Yeah.
was battling with Jordan.
I know. I know exactly what I'm just saying. It's not very often you those two would end up in the same bracket competing against each other. You know what I mean? Right. Going to be a very interesting one for Jack Wynne now. Let's see what he's made of. It's going to take a superhuman effort from the 36 car to hold off Jordan Kelly, or perhaps a mistake from the Donegal man. This is Dublin against Donegal. Some of the greatest battles in Croke Park over the last couple of years has involved these two counties, but this time we're seeing them go toe-to-toe on one of the most famous racing tracks of all time.
I fear Jack Wynne could be a gunner here as Jordan goes for it for the final corner. That's unorthodox. And Jordan Kelly may get and go for it once again down towards the first corner. Under 5 minutes to go here. Jack Wynne fighting for his first RTA Virtual Motorsport victory. And he's on the inside line heading into the first corner. Slightly later on the brakes is Jack Wynne, but that could be well tactical from Kelly. And Wynne now has this inside line through turn number 2. Beautiful camera work as we head through the Mercedes Arena. He's given Jordan the shove to the outside line, and this is great defending from Jack Wynne. Slowing it down on all the apexes. He is prioritising exit over entry, the Nicky Lauder tactic, and he is making Jordan Kelly work for this one. Kelly is going to go down the inside here, in towards the left-hander, but we know the outside is very much viable, and the number 36 is going to stick there and look to push Kelly wide, potentially on the gravel here. Robin is racing, but they avoid contact, and now down towards the Dunlop curve of turn number 7. Jordan Kelly just about gets in front. Experience and pace. Does it win? Jack Wynne barrels in. There's contact, and through goes Dylan McClements.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a Hail Mary, I think, from Jack Wynne, to be fair. He tried to get back in Jordan Kelly's slipstream, and I think the plan was always to send it down the inside, but probably was trying to have a bit of a clash of egos, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, but a bit of a something measuring contest. And I think Jack was waiting for Jordan to break. Jordan braked at the last minute, and by the time Jack braked, it was way too late. He now has a slowdown, so he's going to be out of it. Jack, it was a brave move from Jack Wynne. I know Jordan won't be one bit happy about it. That's a mistake for Dylan McClements. Dylan McClements making a mistake on the outside, and that's opened up the door for the number 1 machine. Jack Wynne now has a black flag, mustn't have served that slowdown correctly, and now finds himself completely out of this race, having been in first position. What a disappointing end to this race. Dylan McClements, though, he'll be kicking himself. Oh, it's off tracks for Jack. Oh, such a pity for Jack Wynne. And I suppose that contact as well, that 4X between himself and Jordan. And I'm not sure if there was a second one as well between the two of them. Jack's gone off here. It's all gone Pete Tong for the 36 cars. He goes back to the pits. From first to last in the blink of an eye for Jack Wynne. What a disappointment for him. That's very disappointing for Jack, who's gone back into the pits. And yeah, with 2 minutes to go, it's Jordan Kelly's now to lose. It's really hard to see how Dylan is going to have a go off Jordan here, because Jordan is just miles ahead in terms of pace.
Yeah, Dylan is going to severely regret that mistake, because he only had 2 laps really to defend from Jordan, and he could have taken a leap out of Jack's book, because his defence was working well on Brandon. Dylan was closer to pace there's Jordan's pace than Jack was, but Jordan Kelly's just going to stretch his legs here. And he is going to take a hat-trick of victories. We didn't get a single hat-trick of wins last season in the Scholarship Series. So this is going to be the first hat-trick of 2026 for Jordan Kelly. But who's going to get second? Dylan McClements or Brandon McGaughan?
Well, we will see here. Brandon closing in on McClements. Don't know if Brandon's going to get close enough to do that, though. Camto Chukwa as well, lads, in 4th position. Great result for him. Sean McGoldrick in 5th. Rory O'Shea couldn't quite get up there, but tonight's been all about one man. This man, Jordan Kelly, who crosses the line for the penultimate time. And Evan, it's going to be exceptionally difficult to see who's going to stop him, but some of these guys, Harvey Dara in 6th position, Dean Power up to 8th. Great drive from Dean Power as well, just to mention. He is up 5 places, and Colin O'Regan and Dara O'Connor up 11 places so far as well.
Yeah, Kevin Joyce telling us Jack had a meatball flag as well, so it was just everything gone wrong at once for Jack Wynn. But Jordan Kelly now leads by 0.6 of a second. We're looking at Rory O'Shea and Harvey Dara, 2 Tillotson Carters in 6th and 7th position. Dean Power, Dr. Dean Power, dare I say, just behind in 8th spot. But that turned out to be a very interesting scrap, and the theme of the Red Bull Ring and the theme of the Nurburgring are quite similar, is that ego sometimes overtakes composure in this Porsche Cup, and that is something we've got to look out for.
Yeah, ego over adhesion, I think, is the fair phrase for that. Because, unfortunately, a couple of incidents that could have really been avoided, both tonight and, or even you could say aggression over adhesion, if you don't want to say ego over adhesion. But Dylan McClements picking up a slowdown. That means just going to invite Brandon McGahan back into it. Let's see if Dylan can serve this one properly. It's just flinging in there. These iRacing slowdowns are absolutely painful sometimes. It feels like you almost have to stop the car dead to bleed them off, and he's running it tight here. Dylan, time is running out for him to serve this one. He's going to have to lift big time and brake early as well to try and get rid of this slowdown, but Dylan isn't quite doing it. Let's keep an eye on this, because this could have a big impact. Jordan Kelly, though, is going to cross the line, Evan.
Oh, big lunge. Big lunge from Camto was not taking any chances, and it's going to see Dylan McClements off the podium. Jordan Kelly weaves his way to a hat-trick of victories. What a night for the number 1. Brandon McGahan comes home in 2nd, Camto in 3rd, Dylan in 4th. Sean McGoldrick, great result for Sean in 5th. Harvey Dara, here is Nicky Sharler, who just finishes behind Peter McCann, and we're looking at Simran be pushed off. One of our fantastic performers in the Red Bull Ring. It's not been the same tonight for the Canadian, but Bicky, as he is known in the Potato Nation group, coming home in 18th position, but that turned out to be quite a tasty evening of racing.
I think it's Eric Killeen but Simran, if Eric is Bicky, you can call Simran Maple, I think, because of what comes out of his national country. Ian May crossing the line. Unfortunately, a lot of black flags here. A lot of people with slowdowns or different types of penalties. Lawrence de Soswa in the 32 machine, way back as Lawrence. He's up 2 places overall, but I suspect he could have been a whole lot better. Driver of the day nominations. We see Kevin Joyce already in with Jordan. Get your nominations in. Jordan, given he's won 3 races, is probably unlikely to be our driver of the day, but certainly could be a potential shout. But we're going to speak to Jordan nonetheless, because he is our race winner of our final race coming up in just a second.
Jordan Kelly takes the win. Brandon McGaughan in 2nd, Camto Chukwa in 3rd, Dylan McClements in 4th, Sean McGoldrick in 5th, Harvey Dara in 6th, Rory O'Shea in 7th, and it was Dean Power, Peter McCann. Quite an underrated recovery from Peter. Nicky Sharler in 10th, and it was Lee Cogan, Jan Zoutavella, Colin O'Regan, Conor Melia, Eric Killeen, Stephen Donnelly, Dara O'Connor, Simran Tacker, Mladen Shrekovic, and Dave Collier down in 20th position. Then below Dave Collier in 21st, we had Simon Hutchings, Michael Corrie, David Edwards, Dermot Toomey, Lawrence de Soswa, Grace McCallion, Ian May, Jared Love, Aidan Moore, Jack Wynne, Sean Cullen, Tony Griffin, Adam Dowling, Jamal Gandor, Sean Smith, Peter Duke, and Matt O'Donoghue. I've already spoken to our race winner, so I think it's only fair that Jordan Kelly joins my partner in crime, Kevin Gavin.
Jordan, not a threatening man, as christened by my co-commentator.
No, not a scary
Evan.
man.
Oh, not a scary man. Sorry, as threatened as christened by my co-commentator Evan Dalton. But you drove scarily well tonight. First of all, like we spoke to you already about the pace and about the car and how comfortable you are. Tell us a little bit about that incident with Jack Wynn.
It was. To be fair to Jack, it was some battling. Oh, I keep
Jordan.
doing it. Anyways, the battle with Jack, it was good. Like I enjoyed it up to that point, but no, I knew when he outbraked it, it wasn't going to get stopped, and I knew to turn out. But it was just one of them things. But I enjoy the good battle with people, so I don't mind them things happening at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of had no other option, and he probably knew that it was a bit of a Hail Mary, but you picked your way through the grid. We saw a good bit of battling there. You were battling along with Dylan McClements as well. So, I mean, I suppose a kind of a different race. Probably enjoyed it a little bit more. It wasn't as lonely a race as it was for the first two.
Yeah, it felt like everybody learned how to drive the car in that race, but no, they were definitely a lot quicker in that race, whatever they were doing. But it wasn't as easy as I thought it was maybe going to be. But no, it was good, some good clean racing there. So that's the main thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, definitely cleaner than your language this evening, Jordan. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for joining us. And are you going to be on the sim next week? Are you going to be on controller? What's the plan?
I'll definitely be in the controller next week because
All right,
just
okay.
lucky it's Paddy's Day today, so at home.
Well, look, Jordan, we'll try and come up with some sort of a bank holiday to get you back in the sim before the end of the season. But congratulations, you certainly made the most of it this evening, and a 3-race winner, exceptional performance from you. Great to see you back at the top of the grid. So hopefully we'll be speaking to you soon.
Hopefully I'll chat to you again. Well, chat to you later.
Right, well, that was Jordan. We'll get Jordan some media training, I think,
Badly needed.
before the end.
Werner Dolan, that's your next purchase.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. We do have rates available if you do want consultancy. We'll get him one of those shock collars you can give dogs. Every time Jordan swears, it just goes off. Anyway, here's a man who can keep both his racing and his language clean. Brandon McGahan. He's been joined by Evan Dalton.
Brandon, congratulations. Second again tonight. Actually, your fourth podium of the season, or certainly you got 3 last week and then 1 in Heat 3 here tonight. Seemed like the pace picked up as the races went along.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just seem to be quicker as the tires were. Take care of my tires more. I've been trying to keep out of the ABS more than I did last week, and it seems to fairly take care of the tires. The last, for whatever reason, race 2 and race 3, I had pretty bad like frame stutter. So it was pretty annoying because I felt like in race 3, I could have had the pace to have a good go at it, but it kept happening in the middle of the corners and kind of throwing me off. But I think I know what to sort, so it should be fixed for next week. So not happy enough with it though.
You, of course, drive a lot of race cars. You coach drivers. You're around cars a lot. Is battling like that what you thrive on, or would you much rather sort of Jordan Kelly's evening where he drove up the front?
Nah, I love battling. To be fair, as well sets racing apart from rallying. Like rallying's very good in its own right, but there's nothing like wheel to wheel battling, in my opinion. It's definitely my favorite part about racing, racecraft, and all that. So that one was good fun. That was good fun. Jack was doing a good job in the defense. Good bit of racing tonight. Race 1 was pretty fun at the start too.
Yeah, sort of very different to what you've driven before. This Porsche Cup car, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a lot more. There's a lot more driving in it, if that makes sense, than the V. The V was just kind of waiting until the last couple of laps to battle, whereas this you have to be on top of it the whole time. It's the first car I've really driven with ABS, so that's something I'm learning. I'm enjoying it.
Daytona next week. Will we be seeing you here?
I'll be here for it. Yeah. I think I'm going to miss a couple of rounds later on in the season, but I'll definitely be there for Daytona anyway. I'm looking forward to it. It should be good fun with the slipstreaming.
Lovely stuff. We look forward to seeing what you can do. Brandon, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations once again.
Come on, cheers.
And now to hear from Camto for the first time since that infamous evening in the Sim Consultants. He joins Kevin. I think Kevin may be having some internet issues once again.
I'm there.
Oh,
I'm there.
no,
I'm
never
there.
mind.
I'm there. I'm there. I'm with you. I'm with you. Right, Campto, very different interview to the one that we had the last time we spoke to you. Tell us a little bit about the Porsche Cup cars. I know you put a lot of work into the V's, and these cars are very, very different. And tell us a little bit about your choice of livery this evening.
I guess to start with the first one, with the Porsche, I think the first time I actually got a podium in a car that's not a Formula car, minus the MX-5 series. So it's nice to get one here. And even at Nurburgring, this is where I got my first podium in RTA 2 years ago. And again, it was last corner on the line by someone getting a slowdown. So it was almost a complete carbon copy from 2 years ago. And then with the second question, I guess I did more preparation for this one. I mean, it was still preparation like in the Formula V's, but like last week, I was nowhere. Like I had an exam last Tuesday and I fell asleep and woke up 5 minutes before qualifying. I didn't get to practice the new curbs at Nurburgring, but this time I got to do more practice, and going into this I felt better, and I think the results showed that as well. So getting a podium at the end was quite a nice way to end. And the livery as well. The livery is because of St. Patrick's Day, and I wanted to get some sort of livery related to Irish, so I saw Guinness livery and decided to pick that, which is also kind of ironic because I've never had a drink in my entire life. So I said if I was to win, I would have a drink, but it hasn't happened, so thankfully I don't have to.
I love that. Outstanding. Repping a brand that you've never actually tried yourself. You're not the first driver to ever do that, I can tell you that much. Now, you are, I suppose, what are the hopes for this season? Like, did you get a sense now of having practiced a little bit this week? Did you get a bit more of a sense of where your pace could be? And I know, obviously, it took a bit of a mistake to get you in the podium places, but you were battling up and around the top 5 all the way through. So would you has this given you a bit more confidence this week?
I actually don't know. I want to see how week 3 goes, because obviously last week wasn't the best because I was qualifying like P22 or 23 or something, and then this week is always a complete flip over from that week. So next week could be this week, it could be last week, but or it could be something in between. So I'm hoping it's like this week and I can fight towards the front, but I don't know about like if I'll be able to fight for the championship, because Jordan literally was 6 tenths ahead of us in practice, another 2 tenths in qualifying. And same with like Dylan, Nikki, and a few other people. Like they're all super quick drivers, and they had a few mistakes, whereas I, for the most part, kept it clean. So I think keeping it clean is probably what's going to help again, like the Formula V's. But I think if I want to get better results, it's going to have to be a bit more practice on like how to actually overtake, because I'm not the most confident on the brakes in this car. But I'll try working that for next week.
Yeah, well, really looking forward to seeing your progression in this series, and always great to talk to you, Campto. Well done. I would say go have a pint of Guinness to celebrate, but you're obviously not going to do that. So have a nice glass of water on St. Patrick's Day, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Right, that was Campto Chuck. We're repping the black stuff, but he doesn't actually drink it. So
Yeah, he's
there
not
you
gonna
go.
he's not gonna fit in well in Mondello if he doesn't fix that quickly.
Yeah, I know. Certainly won't be doing much for the bar, I have to say. Right, one more thing to do before we head away, and that is to pick a driver of the day. A lot of suggestions for Jordan Kelly, but my suggestion would actually be for the high pre car of Rory O'Shea, who up 11 places and then up a further places to finish in second place in the second race. So that would be my suggestion.
I get where you're coming from, because that's usually the way we go. We don't give it to the winners, but like Jordan was so much better than everyone else tonight. I just don't think I could look past him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go back to the number 1 car because he absolutely, no, Ronan's just decided
sorry. I'm so
unanimously to give it to Rory O'Shea. Okay, well, right. Forget everything that Evan said and what I
Congrats,
was about
Rory.
to agree with, and we're going to give it to Rory O'Shea. Um, right. That turned out about as well as a Nicky Charlier move down the inside. Right. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. Congratulations to both Rory and Jordan. I don't think Jordan will be too upset about not getting driver of the day. And as Kevin Joyce said, some superb camera angles as well. That drone cam heading through the Mercedes Benz, and we had a lovely moment as well where we had some static cam footage with interlinked with the onboard footage of the qualifying lap, which I really appreciated. Right, next week we head over to Daytona. We're heading across the Atlantic Ocean back over to the International Speedway. 24th of March. I suspect we won't be just turning left. I suspect we will be using the infield as well. Although if we are using the outfield, that would make for a very interesting race. We've finished our German round. It's all transatlantic from here on, folks. And just as well, we aren't taking actual flights for these because we will be racking up our carbon footprint in no time.
You're not flying them anyways, Kevin.
Well, yeah, I only fly the ones that I'm involved in. So yeah, I'm currently in Orlando for Sebring, and I will be flying home after the Sebring 12 hours. Right, RTA Virtual Motorsports, you can head over there to get all of the updates on the current series. Head over to I got distracted by Mladen Strakovic's interesting profile picture there. Head over to Bois Motorsports for all of the updates on the Irish motorsport scene, both real and virtual. And of course, head to Mondello Park. Keep an eye on them because there will be loads happening on Mondello over the course of the season. And Trophy AI as well. Trophy.ia will help you become a faster driver if you're willing to listen to what it has to tell you and you're not pig-headed like some other drivers I know, then you might actually learn a thing or two from our AI overlords. Right, that's all. Thanks very much to Evan Dalton as always for joining me. Thanks to Ronan Hedeman for his superb work in the background. We will be here again next week once again because we don't have lives for the race and Daytona. But until then, thanks a million for joining us and Song of All.